The Southern Poverty Law Center has called the group, which is called ACT, which is basically an anti-Muslim and racist organization according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They say they're coming out to protest against Sharia law and quote-unquote genital mutilation, which is really just a veiled way of saying we're coming out to protest all Muslims.
Yeah, throughout my lifetime. This is not new. It's not just since Trump's election. You know, people have been screaming, go home, go back to where you came from at us my whole life. So now it's more apparent, and the great thing is that more people are coming and standing up and supporting us against Islamophobia now in a way that wasn't there before. So it's great.
I am Pakistani, actually, so, growing up, I was 10 when 9/11 happened, and that's pretty much when that started for me. Racist discrimination, prejudice, even when I was 10, kids are calling me names, pretty awful things, and even today, it's nasty. I get stuff on the street, not often, but it happens, and it should be fought everywhere that it appears.
I think it's true that right now the left is on the defensive in this regard, and we see that the far right is growing across the country. It's evidenced by increased emboldenedness for marches against Sharia, increased hate crimes, increased violence. We know there was a recent lynching at the University of Maryland and stabbings at Portland, a stabbing on my campus at DePaul. But simultaneously, I think that the left is growing too, and in a lot of these different protest spaces, folks who may not have been open to radical politics before, who have never been to a protest, are recognizing the need to get involved and start joining and being involved with organizations.
So I was telling my son, the reason that I'm here is that I'm 50 years old, I was born here and raised here, and this is the first time I've ever felt afraid about being a Muslim in this country. And I just feel like I shouldn't have to be afraid, and I shouldn't be afraid for my children.
There's definitely allies are here and they're important, but I think the people, I'm in a position where I'm experiencing these things firsthand, and so I'm here in solidarity with Muslims because I know what it's like to experience hatred and oppression and know the danger and violence that can come from bigot language, and they're just capable of a lot.
They fester, they grow, because the people on top fundamentally have always used racism and other forms of oppression as a divide and conquer strategy. There's no way the poor and oppressed people can effectively fight back against that without solidarity, without unity, and without building a truly mass united movement. The people ultimately have the power, but in order for people to exercise their power, it has to be done in an organized and really mass way. It has to be done in a popular way.
I think that things are changing, but very slowly. I think that there's a really great mass movement of solidarity being built right now. There's a lot of more people now who are finally, after 15 years of this sort of thing. For me personally, obviously it's gone back way further than that, but people are starting to see that this is nonsense. That racism can't be tolerated. I think it's a huge road ahead of us, though.
Today was a prime example that we can fight for a better world, that we can be the change that we want to be, that is only going to come from movement on the ground and work in solidarity. So I appreciate that everybody that came out today, and I want to focus on making sure that we make sure that these actions are broader, as big as possible, because the more we come up to show resistance, the more we shut down their confidence to organize, to spread their hate speech that always leads to violence, that this right here is the work that needs to be done, and we cannot expect it for anyone else but the movement that's taking place on the ground.
Oppressed when I was born, project scene backdrop, beer bottles and crack rocks, front doors and padlocks, she got the criminals, no, she got the bad guys.